So, folks, here's the decision you need to make. You need to make the decision that you want the person you're becoming, you want the body that you're creating more than you want to be able to eat whatever you want when you feel like it, because you feel like it. All right, guys, Dr. Del Miller's here, and welcome to another episode of The Best You've Ever Been. Hope you're doing great. It's a rainy day here in sunny Southern California. I just experienced some gigantic hail outside, coming down like it was a rainstorm, but big balls of hail. So welcome to the new Southern California. How you doing out there? Hope you're doing great. Welcome to another episode. I'm glad you have joined me. If you're new, don't forget to check out the resource page to this podcast, because I've got all kinds of resources for you. Okay, that is the show link. I've got all kinds of goodies for you. So today, I want to talk to you about the decision. The decision. So far this year, we've been talking about how to go about creating your future self, and why it's important to learn to prioritize the habits of your future self over the habits of your current self, or rather prioritize the needs of your future self over the needs of your current self. Because what a lot of people do is they just get in this habit of doing the same things over and over again, and consequently over time you end up getting exactly what you have, because hey, you're doing the same stuff, right? You got to do something different. And earlier this year I challenged you to do something different, and that's one motto that I've been using so far this year. Do something different. You do something different in the way I train, do something different in the way I eat, do something different in my marketing strategies. So my goal this year is to do something different, and I challenge you to do something different. Because if you want different results, you have to be willing to do something different, right? So today I want to talk to you about the decision. And no, it's not the decision that LeBron James made to go to the Miami Heat from Cleveland. Not that decision. I'm talking about the decision that you must make in order for conscious eating to take place. Conscious eating begins with a decision, a simple decision. I've been having a conversation with a client last night. See, these episodes always spring from some conversation I have with someone. I'm having a conversation, and we were talking about, the fact that, well, it's a guy, believe it or not. It's a guy. I was having a conversation with one of my male clients. I do have male clients too. And we were talking about his eating, and the fact that, he trains, and sometimes he feels like, oh, I'm doing my training so I can do this, I can do that, I can eat whatever I want, I can do, I can indulge. It's like, well, if you indulge on a daily basis, well, guess what? That's a habit. You just have a habit of indulgence. And if indulgence is your habit, well, you may not be moving in the direction that you want if indulgence is your habit, right? If you're eating what you want every day, if you're eating what you feel like every day, then, that's your habit. You have a habit of eating what you feel like every day, as opposed to eating what you plan to eat. Oh, yes. I did say plan, right? The plan. If you don't have a plan, then you're not really in the business of moving forward. You ever heard the phrase, those who fail to plan to fail? Yes. So if you don't have a plan, then you're not really in the business of creating change. You're not really in the business of creating your future self. You're not working towards your future vision if you don't have a plan. If you're not following a plan, then you're not working towards your future vision. You are just spinning your wheels right where you are. So I guarantee if you don't have an eating plan, then this time next year, you'll be right where you are. That's my prediction. If you don't have an eating plan, this time next year, you'll be right where you are. If you don't have a plan for changing your body, this time next year, you will have what you currently have because you don't have a plan. So, folks, here's the decision you need to make. You need to make the decision that you want the person you're becoming more than you want whatever food you want to eat. You want the body that you are creating more than you want to be able to eat whatever you want when you feel like it, because you feel like it. And you hear what I just said? Eat what I feel like. And that's what my client said last night. It says, sometimes I just feel like I want to eat what I feel like because I'm working out, I'm training, I'm doing all this stuff. So I just want to eat what I feel like. And I pointed out to him, I said, well, to eat what you feel like, anytime you have feelings in a sentence with eating, we call it emotional eating. Because when do you eat? Well, you eat when you're physically hungry. And that's how if you're going to be successful, you have to learn to train your brain to eat when you're physically hungry as opposed to eat when you feel like it. Learn to eat what you have planned to eat as opposed to eat what you feel like eating. Because if you're eating because you feel like something, then that's emotional eating. And that's going to take your brain into a whole lot of tailspin. That's going to take you down a path that is very difficult to get out of. So the thing we do is we learn to retrain the brain, need to rewire the brain so that your brain will take you down the path of eating when you're physically hungry, and eating what you have planned to eat as opposed to eating what you feel like. I feel like something yummy. I feel like this. I feel like that's emotional eating. And there is no end to that I feel like. And once you go down that path, it is not the path of creating sustainable long-term results. It's the path of being in the moment and being a slave to your emotions, your urges, and your cravings. So, folks, the decision you need to make up front is this. Am I willing to prioritize the needs of my future self ahead of the needs of my current self? I feel like eating what I feel like eating is just satisfying the needs of your current self. That's who you are. That's what you feel like in the moment. However, who are you becoming? What is that future self that you are working towards? What is your future vision of yourself? What are you creating? All right. So if you make the decision that you are going to prioritize the needs of your future self, then the needs of your future self, what your future self does, your future self isn't someone who eats whatever he or she wants because that's what they feel like in the moment. No, your future self is someone who plans and carries out that plan. So for instance, well, I know what I eat and I know what I don't eat personally. From years of training, my brain, from years of developing certain habits, and those habits have become a lifestyle. So I know what I do and I know what I don't do. That doesn't mean that I don't ever deviate from that, but when I do deviate, I deviate by choice. I call this conscious eating. When I eat, I eat by choice. So I choose what I eat. So I know what I do for my meals. I have an idea of what I'm going to do for my meals, whether I have anything planned or not. That's just years of conditioning. But when I began, the way this becomes a lifestyle and becomes just automatic is I know what I do and I know what I don't do. I know what I eat and I know what I don't eat. Not because I think things are good or bad. No, but because this is the lifestyle that I have chosen. I want the body that I am creating. I want the body that I have and what I am creating more than I want the stuff that comes along. So I don't allow food cravings. I don't allow my urges. I don't allow those kinds of the emotional eating to take precedence over what I'm creating. Do I want the junk more than I want the body? No, I want the body more than I want the junk. And over years of working on that, that's where I have gotten to. And that's where you will get to eventually by making that decision. Making the decision that you are going to prioritize the needs of your future self over the needs of your current self. Because the needs of your current self will come about primarily through what you've always done, right? Your lower brain is going to be throwing urges and cravings at you because that's what you've always done. And that's what the lower brain does. It throws ideas at you. It doesn't mean you have to follow those ideas. You have to learn to activate the higher brain. That's your cognitive problem solving brain. Right? So the higher brain is what pushes us towards making the decisions that are in our best interest. The lower brain is just into the instant gratification of the moment. So we have to learn to work with the higher brain in order to tame our lower animal brain. So are you ready to make that decision? The decision to prioritize the needs of your future self ahead of the needs of your current self. And whenever you start feeling like, I want to eat this, I want to eat that, well, that's just satisfying the needs of your current self. And you need to ask yourself, who am I becoming? What would my future self do in this situation? The person I'm becoming, what would he or she do in this situation? Would they succumb to the feelings and eating based on feelings in the moment? Or would they learn to work their process? This is a chance you get to work your process, right? You get to work your process by looking at, okay, well, where are these urges coming from? What feelings are coming up here? Right? What feelings am I trying not to feel? And then you look at, well, where is that feeling coming from? Where is that coming from? Well, it's coming from your thinking something. It's coming from your thought. Remember, thought, emotions, actions. It's coming from your thoughts. So you learn to work with those thoughts. Change the thought, you change the feeling, you change the urges. That's how you take control, right? You learn to work your process. That's how I teach my clients in my coaching program to work their process. It's a daily thing. When those urges come up, well, you learn to work your process and work through. Do I really need to do this? Am I really hungry? Am I physically hungry? If I'm not physically hungry, then why am I feeling like this? Where is this feeling coming from? What is this feeling telling me? Okay, well, drink a glass of water. Maybe you're just thirsty and wait. Learn to put some time, some distance between the urge and the action. Right? These are all, see, I'm giving you some of the important things I teach my clients in my Weight Loss Made Easy coaching program. You put some time between the urge and the action. You get an urge to eat something. I feel like eating something. Okay, well, put some time between feeling that urge and actually doing it and going to the refrigerator and actually doing it. Ask yourself, am I physically hungry? If you're not physically hungry, then ask yourself, well, why am I feeling this way? Then why do I feel like eating? Okay, well, work with that. Look at the thoughts behind whatever you're feeling. What are you thinking? Change your thinking. Change the feeling. You deal with the urge. If you're not physically hungry and you still feel like eating, well, like I said, put some distance, some time between the way you feel and actually acting on the feeling. Give yourself 5-10 minutes. Distract yourself. Do something else. Give yourself 5-10 minutes. Drink a glass of water and wait. If 5-10 minutes from now you still feel like you're hungry or you want to eat something, okay, well, have a meal. Have a mini meal. Go for it. This is what I call learning to work your process, learning to master your mind. One of the 7 basic non-negotiable habits of your future self that I teach my clients, again in my Weight Loss Made Easy program, learning to master your mind. You learn how to work with what shows up. You don't just allow it to take control of you and run your life. No, you learn to be the master of your own mind, because that is the most powerful thing you can do. So I leave you with this, guys. Learning to work your process. This is all part of First, you make that decision to prioritize the needs of your future self over the immediate needs of your current self. Because if you continue to prioritize the needs of your current self, you will end up a year from now, you will be exactly where you are. Because you'll be doing the things that you're currently doing and you're not making changes. Like I said, do something different. You got to do something different this year than you did last year. And every day you ask yourself, what can I do differently today? How can I make progress today towards that person I'm becoming, towards the body I'm creating, towards losing weight, if that's what you're trying to do, towards dropping some inches, dropping some fat. If you're skinny fat, towards getting leaner, building some muscle. How can I make progress today towards that goal? What is that goal? Hopefully you have that goal. We've been talking about creating that future self. So what is that future self? Who are you becoming? If you don't know that, you're in trouble. But if you do know that, then that's what you work with. Who are you becoming? What are you working towards? What is that future vision of yourself? And you see, this is powerful stuff. Because if you hold that in your mind every day, that is a powerful motivating factor, because now you know why you're doing the things you do. Now you know why you've made the decisions you're making. Now you have a reason, you have a strong reason to give your brain to say, no, we're not going to act on these urges right now. We can do that some other time. Right now, we're going to focus on taking the path that leads me to where I'm going, to the person I am becoming. You see how this works? Very powerful stuff, guys. And, you thought it was all about diet and exercise. Boring. It's not about diet and exercise. Diet and exercise is an important part of your overall long-term strategy, but it's not the most important part. If you make it the only part of your long-term strategy, then you're going to lose. You're going to end up right where you are, or you're going to struggle, right? You're going to have a lot of ups and downs. You're going to lose, you're going to regain, you're going to get some results, you're going to give it back, because you're going to be always caught up in that, I feel like I should be able to do what I want because I'm working hard, right? You're going to get caught up in that. But you've got to be bigger than that. And the way you get bigger than that is, again, you make that decision to prioritize the needs of your future self ahead of the needs of your current self. And you focus on, who you are becoming. Who you're becoming and why. Because that is your motivating factor. All right, my friends, that is all I've got for you today. Remember, check out the show notes for all the resources I've got for you. I've got a brand new training called Rewire Your Brain. I talk about all these things in the free training. It's a short 15-minute training, Rewire Your Brain. And I would highly recommend that you check it out, because I talk about the top 3 things you must do to lose weight and keep it off by learning how to rewire your brain, learning how to change the brain code to your habits to create long-term sustainable results, okay? So check that out. Check out my free training. You can get to it at personalfitness.com. The link is in the show notes. I hope you check it out. There's also a free ebook that goes along with it. All right, as usual, may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Take care now.